Hey, everybody, it's another Monday. And if you're like me, a space geek, you're excited to see that potentially the Artemis 1 rocket has launched into space. And it's like the excitement of going back to the moon is just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm hoping that you guys, if you're as equally as excited as I am to see the space, NASA back in space, it's cool. But we're not talking today about outer space. We're talking about social media space today, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, once again, the FBI, I don't know. They seem to love to meddle where they don't really shouldn't be really meddling. And here we have an accusation, not even an accusation, a confirmation that the FBI went in and told social media heads, watch out with Hunter Biden. Stuart, what did the FBI do this time that's got us scratching our
Well,
heads?
listen. I mean, people are right now scratching their heads about the FBI due to the current raid at Mar-a-Lago. And I mean, people in today in the United States and around the world have a memory of a peanut and only can remember what happened. But I'd like to bring them a little further back before we hit the social media topic by mentioning Peter Strzok, right? The disgraced FBI agent that actually rolled out the public disgrace for the FBI because, frankly, that was its current decline, right? Because that was the false narratives, that's the false Russian thing, false dossiers, Clinton operative, all these allegations. But we always knew that the government got involved with stories that it didn't want the press to run with by morally swaying the New York Times, the Washington Post, going, it may not be a good idea to run that story yet, or they would beg and ask for time. Today, the newsies have obviously changed. They're operatives of political parties. And it's no different than what we're reading about Zuckerberg being so, advised that, the FBI, likes to warn, or is it threaten, or is it jaw boning, morally swaying public media companies like Facebook, Twitter, Google, Apple, to maybe not such a good idea to run with a Biden laptop story because it's going to blow something up in their agenda. And again, it is disgraceful for the handful or dozens of bad operatives that are operating in the FBI. Do I believe they're doing it to be bad actors, or do they think they're being patriots? Well, that's something that history will have to decide. But guys like Peter Strzok, who literally broke the law, have never been called to justice, have never been put in jail. And these operatives that are operating, which they believe is the best intentions, which are the worst, is no different than a neo Nazi gassing Jews, gypsies, gays, and anti political party members, right? And not being guilty. Their excuse is they're following orders and instructions. And frankly, history shows that that response doesn't make it because we hang, we execute, and we imprison people that just go beyond the moral fabric of the law. David, sorry.
Well, look, Stuart,
Little
look,
tangent.
let's take a step back for just a second here, okay? And I think that the problem with what I'm facing here once again is once again, a little bit of a double standard here, is that when we look at what the, and a lot of people are saying, oh, look, the FBI director appointed by Trump, ha 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 ha. No, at the end of the day, here's the problem which I'm seeing here, and we've had one listener who accused us of being a conspiracy theorist, and this is let's just slow down for just a second here. The FBI admitted that they did go to Mark Zuckerberg and to Jack Dorsey to ask them essentially not to run anything to do with the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, Zuckerberg, who is a Democrat, who has supported liberal causes, who's gone out there and has helped to literally shut down and censor conservative thought, made that statement on the Joe Rogan show. He stated it. He refused to go further on what the details were and what have you. But Jack Dorsey himself, who also is not exactly a Trump lover, eh, Stuart? Remember Jack Dorsey? Really, even he said, you know what? They shouldn't have listened to the FBI. The FBI came and told them about stuff that it was you're influencing an election. There was smoke. There was fire. And there was a refusal to go, this is what the problem is. And here we are 2 years later. We're still talking about the Biden laptop. We're still saying, oh my God, there is a problem with this freaking laptop. And the FBI didn't want to run this thing. Now, this is the second time that the FBI has run roughshod for the Democratic Party. We remember what we did with the Hillary Clinton server. We remember what you just talked about, the stories here. We've talked this ad nauseum.
But by the way, Hillary Clinton was giving quarter, and she doesn't get the power of the seat of the president, even though that she may think she did.
But the thing that is irritating with the FBI and Clinton is that she was still a sitting Secretary of State with secrets. She took it off-site onto an unprotected server.
That was proven to be hacked.
And there was not a single thing. The FBI worked at trying to cover it up. For whom? It's, again, the problem is, and again, you're going to sit here and say, oh, you're a bunch of conspiracy theorists, you're lunatics, you think that the FBI works in collusion with the Democratic Party. Well, folks, I'm really struggling to understand how the law is applied. If the FBI, you said it, Stuart, very well, once upon a time, it went to the media houses to warn them, to say, hey, listen, don't run these stories. It could compromise an investigation. What did you just do here? You just compromised an election. You compromised information. You told two powerful social media people, hey, guess what? Don't run the story about Hunter Biden because it will influence people's votes. Stuart, I don't know about you. That reeks badly.
It's not that it reeks badly. This is the current plan that the Democratic Party can get elected and reelected over and over and over again by controlling different aspects of the government in literally, like it sounds like, a conspiracy theorist way. You're adding 80,000 agents. That's like almost 2 football fields, right? Or 2 football stadiums of agents. Now, it's something else I'm just going to add to this, just to, again, my off-topic kind of banter. The U.S. government is trying to also roll out a digital currency. That's like the interesting thing.
But what does this have to do with the FBI story?
It has to do with the government influencing people by moral suasion or jawboning to capitulate to what their plan is.
But Stuart, presidents have been doing this. Presidents have been doing this for decades, since the inception of television. I mean, look, Roosevelt did it on radio when it came up to the war, and you could see since Kennedy, ever since they gone on TV, they go on television and they try to sway, as you say, public opinion here. This is different, though. This is not a president asking. This is a law enforcement body.
Yeah, are you scared of the president? Are you scared of the guy with the gun?
Well, that's the thing, though. The president of the United States has had the power to sway the people. We've known that. We've seen that with speeches. We've seen that with statements and whatever. But here the police, the FBI, walks in and tells 2 organizations with millions and millions of followers what to say and what to do. We're listening less and less to the public media to the traditional media, and more to social media, where we're looking for the people who agree with me, not for the people who disagree with me. And when you see something to do with the Hunter Biden laptop that says, hey, this guy is, China, Ukraine, money, Joe Biden,
So
blah blah
so
blah,
so
and
down,
you sequester those in that hold on, you sequester those remarks. Now you're just feeding into a liberal narrative that the conservatives are once again trying to pin different things on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, and it's erroneous. And we found that it was completely lies.
so now let me rope in my off-topic idea back into making it relevant. The government is trying to launch a digital key to be able to have digital dollars, just like in China, you have a social media score and tie it to currency. And if you don't agree, well, your social score goes down and they can pull your money at any time. You don't have control over it. They do. They have control over your social media score, which is how they allow families to have kids to go to better schools and not better schools, for you to get better jobs and not get better jobs. Kind of like a credit score, but on your social acceptance, right?
So what are you
This
saying
ties
here?
into digital currency.
Where does this go to the FBI?
This goes to the FBI as the number one internal organization to enforce who says what and when it is said and how it is said. They're trying to get
Well,
into
but
your voting.
but we
They're
know.
fear mongering. You know what, David? Stop. How many of our friends that are definitely not left wings that refuse to like our thing to be associated with something that may be leaning off center? They're terrified of their jobs. They're terrified of being persecuted for having a view not like Hollywood,
Look,
not
Stuart,
like the Democrat.
we
So
know that,
tell me,
but
so
this is
so
but
again, this all ties in.
no, but Stuart, this is look since from time immemorial. Okay, leaders have been trying to influence, like you say, persuade, influence, you name it, and it has come in a variety of different ways, whether it's forcefully or, misinformation or whatever it is. But they've also wanted to control, and that is something that, Stuart, I don't care about democracy or not democracy, and we saw it even through this. You could see. This illusion that we're free people, when in reality we're not free. Free is not free is garbage. We're not free. We're under a control. We have laws which control a society. Yes, we understand that, but we also have other control mechanisms. We've other things, and as we've seen in the last in with COVID, and it is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not sitting here and telling you that COVID was a conspiracy theory. The opposite. I had it. I know about it. I'm not saying anything to this, but the control that the government enjoyed about telling you and me what to do, enforcing emergency powers, and we saw it on both sides of the border. That insatiable desire to control is hard to relinquish. And here it is again. The Democratic Party has come straight out and said it, that they love to control our lives.
But
And
David, but again, in closing, because we're getting to that close of quarter hour, all I'm trying to say is, even back when Watergate was going on, the government tried to control the narrative. And I agree with you. This has been going on for the inception of the presidency, controlling the narrative. But where things are getting different, David, is these media giants actually have a lot of control over what everyone hears and sees.
Stuart, and they have even more control. That's the
right.
scary part, because once upon a time, if you didn't really, if you read a newspaper before TV, radio, blah blah blah, you picked up a newspaper. Okay, that was your news, right? And that was it. And you shared in the verbal, blah blah, but whatever that narrative was is what you read. Today on social media, I can find the narrative that I want to read. So if I want to read about conspiracy theorists, I can find it. And if I want to read about people who think that Hunter Biden is a stand-up citizen, I will find that. And I will find people who think that Joe Biden is the greatest president ever. I will find that misinformation. So, anyways, that's it for our quarter hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. And I was not watching this morning, but I didn't miss it. It turns out that the launch this morning that was supposed to happen was scrubbed. And we're looking forward to on Friday, Stuart, when we do our broadcast, that it will finally launch into space. We love you, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll catch you again on